Today I'm going to make bread without using wheat flour. I am a person who cannot eat wheat, barley, oats, rye, any of the gluten products, so I have to stay gluten free. And one of the ways I do that is by finding bread or finding things that don't have wheat in them. And I like to make my own bread because I know the ingredients that are in there are the best, purest ingredients that I can get. Whereas if I have someone else make it, they may not use the best ingredients that I would consider the best. So to start off with, I have ground some grain, which is basically taking flour and grinding it. So we'll cut to that. You can see that. What I'm going to do is grind some grain to make bread, and this is rice. This is organic brown rice. It's not white rice because it hasn't been polished. It hasn't been the covering of the rice hasn't been sanded off. You can buy a lot of baking mixes that are made for gluten-free recipes. There's lots of different ones out there, but I like to use those and supplement it with my own grain that I grind because it's a lot cheaper to do, and I got the machinery to do it. Now, if you've never seen a blender, yes, a blender that can make grain, you're in for a surprise. This is a Vitamix, and if you're familiar with the company Jamba Juice, all of Jamba Juice's machinery is based upon the Vitamix. Simply, you put it in and start it off on the low power, crank it up. That is flour. It's a bit coarser than what you normally come out in a flour mill. It's not sandy at all, but it's a little bit coarser. However, for baking purposes, it's just fine. Works great. I'm going to take 2 cups of this warm flour. It doesn't have to be warm for you to use it, but it's warm from the grinding process. So get about 2 cups of that, and that goes in the bowl. Then I have a package of bread mix that is rice flour, gluten-free, but it has some other things in it, a little bit of baking soda, a little bit of starches to help pull it together. And I got my own secret to help pull it together. And they want you to use all this to make their bread, but I don't need all that. So what I do is I use half of it, and since it's a cup and a half in a package, I use 3/4 cup. And then I like to supplement with just about a half a cup of instant potato mix, and that's my secret to get it to stick together. Potato starch, instant potatoes can help pull the wheat together. So that's in there. And then I also like to use buckwheat flour to add a little bit of protein into the mix. So about 3/4 of a cup of buckwheat, and you definitely don't want the silica package in your bread. Not good. So there's 3/4 cup, and then. Most recipes always say that you stir your dry ingredients to help mix them up a bit, but for the most part, don't worry about it. If you stir when it's all mixed together thoroughly, it's going to be fine. Then comes the wet ingredients, and I use honey, no sugar, okay? Honey is a better sugar for the body. About a tablespoon of honey. So I'll put it in there, and get that to come off. Then about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So just measure that out by eye. It's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. I learned cooking from the Julia Child School of Cooking. Yes, that's Just keep adding ingredients until you think it's okay. And then blackstrap molasses. Molasses is a sugar, of course, but it's high in many minerals that you won't find in grains. So you'll just go ahead and add a little bit of that, and that'll give it a nice brownish color too. And of course, a couple huevos, a couple eggs to help pull it together. Now, the difference between breads, pancakes, cookies, cakes, all that stuff is the amount of eggs you use. So basically, they're all the same ingredients. You're using some type of flour, something, a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, something sweet, and eggs. And those varying amounts determine what you end up with and how you can use it. I add a little bit of sea salt in there. Sea salt is better than land salt. And just a little bit of vanilla to add a little bit of flavor to this. And some people use milk in bread making. Water is just as good, and I know that this is purified water, so add that. And you think, well, how much do you use? Well, it depends on how much it needs. And we'll get to that as we stir it. So we'll stir this up. So make sure that you get it mixed thoroughly. And then I like cooking grade silicone. Sounds bad, but actually it's pretty good. You don't have to use any release agent. So that means there's no lard, there's no grease, there's no oil. There's nothing in here that needs to be in here to get the bread to come out. And we'll see that when we take it out, how easily it comes out. And then I use a baking tray, an air baking tray, that traps a layer of air in between it so that I don't burn the bottom of the bread. And that keeps it from getting too warm. These cookie sheets are great too for making cookies. They keep the cookies from burning. Pour that in there. Now, the difference between this type of bread and bread that you might find in the store is that this is not using yeast. So we're not going to see any rising. There's no need to let this rise. We can throw it straight in the oven. 1 hour at 350, about that, and pull it out. And then you can let it cool and then slice it. Okay, and there is our bread. Right, so there is the bread, and we'll take it out of the pan after it cools in just a couple minutes. Just gonna flip it over, and look at that. Yeah. It's steaming. Woo. Still warm. And